So, for my 1,000th subscriber, I'm giving away a copy of Spider-Man #1, the 1990 Spider-Man series started by Todd McFarlane. It sold about 7 million copies back in 1990, and this is the first print for my 1,000th. Okay, this is Marvel's Avengers Spider-Man debut. Simon Cardy, known cuck. He's a complete cuck, a British cuck. They would have to get some British wanker to do the review, of course. If you want some asshole opinion, you get a British person to make it. Whether it's about pop culture or whatever. I'm missing a lot here. So Spider-Man has a lot of web-based attacks. The only thing that's not web-based in his specials, his heroics, is his heroic support is web drone. And they buried the lead here, but the web drone can make a force bubble around you to protect you, a protective force bubble, so it increases your defense, so you can hold down a point if you're in the raid, for instance. Also, his web status effect is a new status effect added from the webs. It basically immobilizes the enemy, and they take extra damage. Also, a webbed enemy can be slammed against a wall, and that will make them stuck to the wall. So they're basically webbed to the wall at that point. He's doing an aerial combo. I can respect that. I do that in my videos. See, that's a special move he has right there. His web yank. He can grab somebody and then yank them forward. Okay, to pull them off, pull them towards him. And he can do the opposite, which is right there. He can web somebody and pull himself towards them, just like Hawkeye's grapple arrow. Okay, he just threw the web bomb there. That's his heroic assault. Okay, and see, he's in overcharge mode. So when he's overcharged, he can take down anybody in the screen if they're stunned or not. Anybody. They don't even have to be stunned for him to take them down. See right there, he was in a stance, but he wasn't exactly overcharged. So those are just normal takedowns. But previously, we'll show that again because that's very important. When the Spider-Man is overcharged, this is what differentiates Spider-Man from other characters. When Spider-Man is overcharged, he can take down anybody on the screen. Anybody in the room can be taken down with a takedown, whether they're stunned or not. So basically, he's a character that can throw at will. Kind of like Black Panther can pounce on anybody at will. He can just do a takedown anymore. He can do full-on takedowns. Spider-Man's even better. And that's very, very appropriate for the character because, you know, Spider-Man is a guy who will take out everybody in the room. I remember one time I was reading Secret Wars, right? Spider-Man basically took out all the X-Men single-handedly. Okay, he made fools out of everybody, including Wolverine. Wolverine tried to slice him with his claws. He's like, yo, those pig stickers will never get their hands on me. And he just basically made a fool out of Wolverine. So Spider-Man can take out multiple enemies. He's so agile, his spider sense and his super strength. He's nasty. Even later on in Civil War, the comic book series, right? The limited series, he beat the hell out of so many people on the Iron Man side. Mr. Fantastic was like, oh, amazing. And then Spider-Man says, spectacular. And spin kicks Mr. Fantastic in the face. He took out like 10 guys in like split seconds. He was doing so fast, they had to show like slow motion frames for him doing it. That's how Spider-Man is. He's just nasty. He's one of the best combatants in the Marvel Universe. Anyway, so yeah, he can have his web traversal. And this guy, Simon Cardy, why he's a cuck and a cunt, he's complaining about, oh, you can't swing like 50 stories in the sky to the top of a skyscraper. No, you can't. And Thor can't fly 50 stories in the sky either, and neither can Iron Man. Everybody knows the flight ceiling has been established already because the PS4 can't handle a high flight ceiling for this type of game, for this game engine. And it can't go any higher. PS5 can do it, Xbox Series X can do it, but the oldest games can't do it, so that's why they're not going to leave those systems behind, because they sold over 100 million PS4s. So you're not going to be able to fly 50 stories in the sky or swing 50 stories in the sky. And calling the game out is really dumb. Calling the game out for not being able to web swing 50 stories in the sky, knowing damn well Iron Man can't fly that high either, and Thor can't fly that high either, is really dumb. That's the equivalent of complaining, oh, Spider-Man can't drive cars. Spider-Man can't get in this truck, this AIM truck right here and drive it. So there's something wrong with the game because he can't do that. Knowing damn well no character in the game can get in the car and drive it. So why are you complaining about something that's not in the game, period? The hell that I played that Insomniac game is really overrated, and the combat is really simplistic. It has a slight basic core elements of this of like a launcher and an aerial combo, but you don't have full control because they're just like generic attacks. Anyway, I'm not getting on a rant about that game, but that game was very formulaic and it wasn't really good in the combat scenario as good as this game. Not even close. Not even with the gadget webs. They're not good at status effect in this game. So anyway, yeah. So that's what Simon Cardi got. He basically tried to throw the game under the bus the entire time. He didn't want to give it any credit at all. So here we are, and it's really sad because Crystal Dynamics gave them the exclusive in good faith that they would not try to slam the game and do a hatchet job on it, and all they did was basically really spit in their face after them getting the exclusive. And IGN needs it because it's very irrelevant at this point. Their old staff outshines them. Okay, nobody needs IGN. Nobody goes to websites anymore. Everybody's on YouTube. Okay, so that's when it was that's aerial web, I think. That right there, so further back, um, right, right, almost at this point, there's aerial web shot. It looks different than his other aerial web shots. You know, right, 1, 2, 3, there. That looks different. I guess it's an attack, a web attack that he does in midair, and this is his intrinsic. His basic intrinsic is a spider sense. So when that's active and the spider sense goes off, he do a perfect dodge if you pull the intrinsic meter with R2, as opposed to normally when he gets a warning from his spider sense over his head and you press circle to do a perfect dodge. But if you don't want to do that, you can press R2, and he'll do a perfect, no failure rate with the R2 intrinsic escape. Spider sense dodge is way better evade than your normal evade. The normal evade still depends on your timing, but with spider sense evade, the timing is always perfect because it's intuitive. And this is one of his good combos. Okay, so yeah, I was impressed with it. Black Panther did a great job, but this game has the potential to be great too. Here's the thing: he does that web bomb so fast that the web bomb that could definitely be in a combo ender. Okay, so you can do a launcher and possibly end it with the web bomb, right? And possibly if you launch somebody high enough, okay, the um, the wrecking ball. I'm pretty sure the wrecking ball can be used as a finisher, okay, as a combo finisher because it looks just fast enough to land. The problem with Black Panther is he pulls that spear so slow in his King's Mercy. You can use it in a combo. You can only use it after somebody's been knocking it 50 miles away from you, then to hit him with it. But you can't use it as say an aerial combo. You can't just aerial juggle somebody with aerial melees and then do the spear. The spear just comes out too slow to be useful. It's so slow that even if you launch somebody in the sky, he pulls it out so slow, you probably couldn't land the spear on them when they're landing. They probably would hit the floor before you could land the spear on them. Because he's a big wind up before he pulls it, and then it tends to miss. But this, the wrecking ball looks like it might actually be able to hit. If you launch somebody high enough, right? There's a good chance you can land the wrecking ball on somebody. Also, what was like, I guess they did it, just to be, make it spectacular and save them a lot of time making the video. It looked like in this video they turned off the damage for Spider-Man because several times he gets shot and you see his energy meter takes no damage. There's only a few times where he actually takes damage. He gets shot once by one of the synthoids, the elite synths, and once he gets shot by the flying drones, and you see his energy meter go down. Other than that, he never ever gets hit. Even when he gets shot, they score a direct hit, it just phases through him. Right there, he got touched a little bit. But most of the time, he has no hit stun right now. Like those guys look like those guys are missing actually. But so at this point, he obviously took damage because his meter went down a little bit there, and his meter went down here too, so it wasn't on. But the other parts of this video where, like right there, he got shot in the face. I guess why he didn't get damage. He's doing a takedown right there. So because he did get shot directly, but being that when you're doing a takedown, you're invincible. He took no damage there. And this isn't exactly the overcharge mode. The overcharge mode, he just like he just takes down anybody. Anybody in his vicinity can be taken down, which is cool because that's what Spider-Man does. That's what Spider-Man was iconically known for. Anytime he enters the warehouse, he takes out all the hoods in the warehouse, and that's it right there. Okay, that's the web bomb. I mean, the wrecking ball. That looks almost fast enough that it could hit somebody. You know, it looks fast enough that it can hit somebody that you launched. See how to go 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, let's see. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 seconds. I think that's enough time that if you launch somebody high enough, you could probably hit them with the wrecking ball when they land. That just shows it proper all the way. Yeah, trying to wind fast enough to see. 1, 2. From the point where it's out, from the point where, yeah, when it's out, 1, 2, 3, it's about 3 seconds. That's probably fast enough that it can do it. Black Panther, it takes like 600 seconds to launch that thing. That damn King's Mercy. The only good thing about that Black Panther is, you can't land the King's Mercy in the combo. You can land the Percussive Blast in the combo. So yeah, this is very impressive. I think it's impressive. People who are just casuals and don't want this game to be good and don't want this game to succeed will just find reasons to complain about this. In fact, there's no story missions. What would a story mission supposed to be? He's gonna fight Monica Rabachini again. We already beat the hell out of Monica Rabachini in the last mission of beating all the odds. I think he's pretty much out of the picture now. Which points out the fact that Spider-Man came out late. Originally, Spider-Man was supposed to come out in March of 2000 this year, right? So the fact he's coming out in November, it kind of throws everything off to even really fit him in this story. Even if he did have a story mode, most of the story mode involving AIM is resolved at this point because Monica Rabachini's beaten and the Cosmic Cube is in the Avengers' possession. Everything involved in AIM was leading up to the Cosmic Cube. So the fact he's saying he's found the whole storyline in this is Spider-Man says they found some new threat coming from AIM. Like what? They don't have the Cosmic Cube. They pretty much don't have anything. And he did the wrecking ball again. Yeah, and it's hard for them to make enemy work on the like villains like say Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin or Kraven the Hunter and to put him in this game, and then he can only be on PlayStation. So why would they put the man hours into making that and story modes for it, and then they can't even put it in the other two platforms? That's why they're not doing it. And also, it would help if other characters besides this guy will be able to be implemented faster if they don't put a story mode in it. So it's better that they don't put a story mode in it and just put the character out. Then you'll get it faster. But see, the thing with Spider-Man is one reason why he took longer, even though he doesn't have a story mode, because had to make like 40 costumes. So that's one reason. Anyway, he did just launch it, but he didn't launch the guy. I would wish, honestly, this is one of the best costumes. When I saw this costume, I was like, okay, we have something here. This is gonna be really cool. Because being somebody who played so many Spider-Man games, man. I mean, I've been playing Spider-Man since like the Atari 2600. I even had the Atari 2600 Spider-Man game. And Spider-Man and Captain America and Dr. Doom's Revenge on the Commodore 64. I had Spider-Man on the Sega Genesis. I had Spider-Man on the PS2, not the PS2. I had it on the Xbox, original Xbox. Then I had a Spider-Man 3 on the other system. Spider-Man 3 was on the PS3. Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox. So I had a lot of Spider-Man games. So many, I skipped a few. I skipped those Andrew Garfield Spider-Man games. Anyway, so this is really cool though, because this harkens back to, for me, the 1990 Spider-Man cartoon. It was like an episode of multiple universes of Spider-Man in multiple universes, and one of them was kind of a Tony Stark type Peter Parker, and he had this Iron Man type suit. So this is very cool. All right, so that's a tiebreaker for me. That breaks my jadedness. I'm jaded from playing so many damn Spider-Man games. So they had that. They put that in. And that's a Noir suit. That's also a banger. This is a secret. This is not the Mark III Iron Man type suit. I never saw that before, but that's also from the comics. Yeah, at that time he launched the guy. What I was gonna say previously before I paused it, I went into that segue about the suits, is that he didn't launch on this Elite Synthoid, and he couldn't launch it because it's too strong or whatever. It's not stunned, and it's kind of annoying. Spider-Man has super strength. There should be some characters where you have to have a certain strength class. You can launch them anyway, because this character normally can't be launched unless he's been parried or whatever, parried and attack, counter attack after parry. Then you can launch him, or if he's stunned. But that's the only time you can launch him, which is kind of annoying. With somebody like Spider-Man should be strong enough that he can launch them no matter what. And Hulk, Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor, those three should be of a strength class that can launch heavier enemies. That's another annoying thing about those other characters, the adept adaptoids. Those can't be launched either unless it's in a parry. Unless you parry attack them, parry counter attack, they're not getting launched. But that's a story for another day. And that, like I said, that's not something you can indict Spider-Man on because that's a game problem. That's something that's in all the game. The best things are, the drone can make a force bubble, so that's very useful down the line in the raid. In fact, he can take down all enemies if he's overcharged. So you want to try making an intrinsic build, like a Black Panther. So I get my percussive blast a lot. I set up my melee so it gives me a intrinsic burst for every critical melee attack. Also, I set it up so how many enemies I beat when I'm overcharged, drops a heroic orb. Every time I beat an enemy while I'm overcharged, it gives a chance to drop a heroic orb. So if the heroic orbs are on the ground, I'll get overcharged again. After I use my overcharge, I'll be able to get it again. So yeah, this is cool. He's doing takedowns to all these guys. He's overcharged. So yeah, that definitely sets Spider-Man apart from the other characters. And so I'm gonna be spending money on getting more takedowns because he's gonna be taking down anybody on the screen. So we'll add to the variety. Also, to bury the lead, he has 3 different webs. So people were complaining about that web animation there where he's in ranged mode. This, okay, okay, this looks a little goofy. It would look like goofy if he was more muscular. If he was more like, they said they based him on the John Romita Spider-Man, but he should be of that build and that animation. It would be look less, it would look less goofy if he wasn't like that. But also, we don't know if he changes his shooting animation when he changes his webs, because he has 3 webs. His web shot, then he has charged webs, his web bombs, and he has the last one is web tether, which means he can tether 2 characters to each other, and also he can set down a tether trap, so he can tether 2 points together. So if enemy runs into it, they get stuck in the web. That is cool, man. This is better than what they have in the Insomniac Spider-Man. This is just a DLC. They're trying to say that the Insomniac Spider-Man was so great, but he's gonna have more stuff in this game to do than what that Insomniac Spider-Man does. He's very generic. All you do in that Spider-Man game, it got really boring for me to play because you reach a certain point where the enemies were a little too strong and they were resistant to getting melee, so you had to use shock webs on them. And then the whole game boils down to you webbing 2 objects and swinging at somebody. That's what you keep having to do, and you keep doing the same thing over. It's like it's a one-trick pony because you press L1 and R1 and he webs a object and you throw it at people, or possibly you web a person and throw them. But it's like it got old really fast. This game has way more variety to it. And also, we just seen the basic version of Web Bomb and Wrecking Ball. We don't know how it's gonna look when you get the variations, because you see Hawkeye. Hawkeye has several variations of his super, and has several variations of his assault heroic. Okay, here's an ice one, and a plasma one, and a shock one. So he's gonna have 3 different ones, So he'll have more variations. With Spider-Man, will most likely have more variation of his too. So we'll see how it works out. I'm hyped for it, I'm glad it's finally out after all this time. Been waiting, and they've been so tight-lipped about when it's coming out. It made matters even worse. So I'm glad it's finally information's out of the bag, and they got their trailers out, and they got their webcomic out. So finally, it's coming out. Yeah, so we have something to look forward to besides the raid, and also we have another character to run the raid with. So that should be cool. Also, I can run this character on the OLT, which is still fun for me. I still like the OLT. Alright, so here we go. I covered up most of the stuff. The sky swing's fun. It's good. They avoided the obvious area, so they made it so you can sky swing, so you don't get stuck bunny hopping everywhere. And getting inside baseball, the cool thing is about this character is like when he does his obviously he's an evade attack, and when he's an evade attack, he can foot sweep people. And the cool thing about him, it separates him from Black Panther is when he does a foot sweep after an evade attack, he can do a like basically a breakdance windmill kick right after. Um, Black Panther would have to be right there. That's a breakdance windmill kick. Caught it. Black Panther would have to be in Legend of Bass mode, Bass chosen mode for him to be able to do that, do a follow up. But right there, so he did a foot sweep then a windmill right after it. So that's cool. 34 seconds in. Excellent. Also, and for the karate, enthusiast in me, he does a back fist. He does a spinning back fist right there from that angle. So that's cool. Cool combat. And I've seen him doing it at another angle later on in the game. So I gotta love that. I gotta love the combat in this game. The guy who made Vince Napoli, he did the combat for God of War for PS4. So he did the combat for this. So he did not do a bad job with Spider-Man. I knew he wouldn't because he's involved in doing the combat. He made the combat for every character unique and excellent. So I knew he wouldn't fail this. I had no doubt. I'm trying to see if we can see the spinning back fist again. And that was it right there. I was looking away. No, no. Yeah, there it is, spinning back fist. So that's cool. Um, I'm always a spinning back fist enthusiast because I used to do that in karate class because I used to read a lot of ninjutsu books. So I learned a lot of different moves. So when I spar, I use like spinning back fist. And my sensei would be like, "Well, only a master uses a back fist in a fight or sparring." He's except for this guy. He stopped was like, well, and looked at me because I'm the only one that kind of uses spinning back fist in class. And this is before UFC was really big. UFC was out, but it wasn't as big as it was. It was before it crashed the first time. Before John McCain shut it down, and before Dana White bought it. Because after Dana White bought it, then more and more unorthodox martial artists got into it, and then you see the spinning back fist used a lot more, and it became mainstream. Anyway, yeah. So I think it's a W. This whole thing is a W. People are just like hating on it. People that are the most critical are the ones who don't have a PlayStation 4, and they're just like, oh wow, I'm stuck. I'm an outside looking in, so I'll just be salty about it and try to say the animation is bad. Well, they don't really know what they're talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. Pretty much covered everything. September, November 30th can't come fast enough. Can't come fast enough. So that's everything. Yeah. Only thing this video doesn't show is wall crawling. That's the funny thing. You notice they don't show him wall crawling at all, and that's what he's known for. He's like a wall crawler, but you never show him doing it at all. I guess you know why? Because it's not really interesting, I guess. And they were trying to focus on just the combat, the big highlight reel stuff. It's possible that the intrinsic, increases the damage he does because at some points you see his hands and feet glowing, and the intrinsic meter is going down. So I don't know if it's possible maybe the intrinsic meter also adds super strength to his hits. Because Spider-Man doesn't use super strength all the time. Sometimes in some of his combos, he's maybe using the super strength by using the intrinsic meter. Or maybe you can spec out your intrinsic meter in the skills section to do that instead of focusing on boosting your evade. It can boost your combat effectiveness. You see that too, right before he did the uppercut, his hand started glowing. So either A, It was he's using his intrinsic meter to boost it, or B, he had his melee attacks do pim damage. So his hand started glowing red because it's doing pim damage. So I mean that's pretty much all of it. I covered everything I think, and to me it's a W. Of course I had a PlayStation.